So imagine you're in the mood for a meat lover's pizza, but you're in the mood for this pizza and you know you're cutting, you know you're on a diet. So what you do is you say, hey, let me order the meat lover's pizza. You order the meat lover's pizza and it gets to your crib. Once it gets to your house, you say, you know what? Maybe to save some calories, I should take some pepperoni off the pizza. Maybe I should take some sausage off the pizza too. Maybe I should take some ham off. Maybe I should take some bacon off. Actually, I just realized I'm lactose intolerant. I don't want my stomach to hurt. So let me take the cheese off the pizza too. Now, what you're left with isn't really pizza anymore, but it is. You're left with marinara sauce and bread. Now, marinara sauce and bread isn't that bad, but it's not what you asked for. And it's not what you was probably expecting it to taste like, because it took a lot of stuff off, if you get my drift. This is exactly how I felt with this live adaptation. So let's talk about it and let's cue the intro.
Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's a geek.
Now, if you're new here, and I know a lot of y'all are going to be new, I know a lot of people, I'm going to have a lot of you Hakusho fans coming over and seeing some opinions, and this is my opinion. But I make Marvel and anime content, and the content I make kind of already hints on the fact that I know how adaptations work, comic book adaptations, anime adaptations. I know how that works, and one of the biggest rules of thumbs I have when it comes to adaptations is that you can't have an adaptation where it's exactly like the thing you're adapting, but it can't be too far away from the thing you're adapting as well. That's why I always say this stuff is hard to do. Now, I'm gonna try not to compare it to One Piece a lot, but if you don't know, One Piece is my favorite anime, and we know we just got a great One Piece live adaptation. So I made a video, my last video, it was about One Piece, comparing it because it gets a lot of hate. Comparing it to other shows, I have it linked somewhere, so if you want to take a look at that, please do. Areas and the problems I had was not just the little tic-tacky stuff. Kuwabara's hair is different. This is different. This isn't doing like this. The main issue that I have, and the main issue that most people are going to have, is the pacing. The pace is way too fast. Way too fast. Now, I get the sense that they made this just because they figured out we probably not going to get renewed. But they probably would have gotten renewed if it was actually as good as it could have been. We get a lot of arcs cut out. We get the most of the Genkai training guard. It wasn't cut out, but it was changed. Dark Tournament arc is gone. The Fort Saint Beast arc is gone. Basically the first 10 episodes of the show where we're getting how Yusuke is and how we get him being a delinquent and him actually knowing that he cares for certain people, that's gone. So you really are left with a show that is very one note. It's very one note. And it sucks because I've watched Yu Hakusho's my first ever anime. I have a deep love for this show. And it pains me because it had great potential. It really did. I'm not gonna just talk about the things I didn't like. I'll talk about some good things I like too. The character Yusuke, I actually like how Yusuke was portrayed. He was a delinquent. I feel like he was actually a little bit more of a delinquent in the anime. And I say that because he kind of has a cocky attitude in this. He definitely has a cocky attitude in the anime. But I guess because it's live action, you're able to mimic some facial expressions. It came off a little bit how I would think Yusuke would be if he was a real person. I loved Genkai. Genkai as a mentor was very interesting. Keiko, she did her thing. All the women in this show look good, by the way. The women in this show look good. Keiko looked good, Botan looked good, and the girl who cries with the crystals, she looked good. All of them, they did their character right. Botan's character was actually pretty spot on. I feel like that's how Botan should probably be too. Now, when it comes to characters, and the main issue with this show also is, yes, they made it very, very, very concise, but some of these characters didn't feel like the characters from the anime. Kuwabara felt nothing like he did from the anime. He wasn't charming. He wasn't this. This show, it just felt way too serious. And you're dealing with a show that's dealing with yokai or demons or whatever you want to call it. It's dealing with a lot of dark aspects and a lot of dark tones. But to combat that, it has characters like Kuwabara. It has characters like Koima, who are very, like, not comic relief, but they're interesting characters to where you're having something be too heavy, and then Kuwabara comes in and says something stupid. You know, I just felt like Kuwabara, Koenma, they were way too serious. Hiei, he was way too serious, but that's Hiei. And that's another thing, Hiei eventually lightens up in the anime. We don't see any of that here. We don't see Hiei's intention of doing anything. He's just there to say he's there, to be honest. Kurama, besides Yusuke and Toguro, besides Yusuke and Kuwabara, he's probably the only person who actually gets a little more character, because we've actually learned about the stuff with his mom and all that from the anime. So that was it. It just didn't feel like Yu Yu Hakusho. When I watched this, it wasn't giving me the same feelings as Yu Yu Hakusho did. The first episode was amazing. It had me in the first episode. I feel like everything was cool, especially the scene where Yusuke freaking gets ran over, bro. It looks so brutal, bro. That was, oh my god. It looked so bad when he got ran over. I was like, oh my god, he's really dead. Because in the anime, bro, he gets a little hit. It's like, realistically, you could die from that, definitely. But you can survive from that too. Well, when he went through from the show, Yusuke wasn't surviving that. It was GG's. He got hit, ran over, and all type of stuff, rolling down the thing. So that was cool. But it was also missing the Keiko and Yusuke relationship. And here, they're just best friends. But we know they have a budding relationship that starts from the first episode. We don't really understand why Keiko really likes Yusuke. We don't see none of that. We don't see the fact that Keiko has to kiss Yusuke to save him from the fire. Everything is just neglected, and the stuff that's neglected is stuff that's needed. Like I said, you can't have a meat lover's pizza with no meat, let alone no cheese. So you can't have Yu Yu Hakusho without some of the stuff that makes it Yu Yu Hakusho. And once again, I know this is not a one-to-one adaptation, but this wasn't an adaptation at all. This is a subtraction. It wasn't an adaptation, it was a subtraction. Alright? So, that's how I feel about that. And then we get to episode 2. Episode 2 is the Genkai stuff. So, we meet Genkai. So, I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, how they're doing it is different, but it's not too different. Then I see Kuwabara's finna tag along. Okay, so now I'm like, okay, so they're not doing the whole spirit thing where you have 100 people, and because if you don't know, I'm rewatching Yu Yu Hakusho right now. I'm on like episode 70, so I have like a clear memory of everything that happened because I'm trying to do anime study on the anime as well. But we don't see any of that. Kuwabara is there, but his main thing is because he wants to just compete with Yusuke, and he was doing that in the anime. Don't get me wrong, but not one time. I don't think, if I remember correctly, I just finished. But I don't remember them mentioning anything about Kuwabara's heightened spirit awareness.
Also, Jada from the future here. I'm talking about the Kuwabara and spirit awareness right now, and this is another thing, a small plot hole that I realized, alright? I forgot to mention that Genkai gives Yusuke the spirit orb right then and there, and not in the Dark Tournament arc, which he usually does it. But in this situation, why would Genkai give the spirit orb to Yusuke instead of Kuwabara? Now you can answer that because she's saying that Kuwabara actually wants to work harder and do this and do that. But we don't, and another thing, remember I just said, we don't see his spirit awareness. We don't see that Yusuke has potential either. So if you see dude out there working hard, why would I give it to the dude who's slacking? Why would I choose him to give the spirit orb to? So that's another food for thought. Think about that and let me know what y'all think in the comments.
Which is one of the reasons why he was able to even be noticed by Genkai. And Genkai, for one, the Genkai in the anime would not train Kuwabara. Like, I have high doubts that will not happen. But anyway, so you get Kuwabara and Yusuke training excessively with Genkai. Genkai has Kuwabara hitting a rock with a stick, obviously because in the anime, how he gets to figure out he has a spirit sword is he has the chakra stick from the dude he was fighting in a little tournament, Genkai tournament, little mini tournament, and he uses it like that. Then he figures out how to do it with just with the stick. I guess it was kind of like the same stick or whatever. Anyway, so boom, you got that. So I'm like, okay, that's one thing that I'm not mad that they skipped, because they could have skipped that. It really wasn't no super character development besides the spirit awareness thing. I was like, okay, that's fine. Then we start getting Kurama, Hiei, and I'm like, this ain't it. Now the fights were amazing. That's one thing where I would say One Piece has this beat. The fights and the CGI in this looks way better than the One Piece live adaptation. But the story is terrible. It don't even hold a candle to One Piece live action. It don't. I mentioned Kurama and what he needs to do with the mirror and all that stuff and stuff. Hiei's there, but he's just there. Like I said, he's just there. He's not really. We don't really know. I mean, we know if you watch the anime that he eventually tried to save his sister, but that's not how it went down. Anyway, so whole episode with Genkai. Then we get the whole Kurama and Hiei thing. Then at the end, I think, what was it, episode 3 or 4? Toguro he's back up with Genkai and kills Genkai. So this is where I'm like, okay, so Dark Tournament arc is not happening. One of the best tournament arcs in all of anime, all of Shonen, is not happening. Okay, so it took me a minute to realize that they were just going to completely skip over that, because you can't have the Dark Tournament arc without the 5th member. Genkai dead by this point. Oh, Keiko gets captured. That's something that also didn't really need to happen, but it did happen. So Yusuke will have a reason to go to the base with Sakuya and Tsurukune. Tsurukune's character was also really good too. He seemed like exactly pulled right off the anime. But yeah, Keiko was captured, and then we get like I guess we get like a mini version of the Dark Tournament finale. Sakuya, not Sakuya, what's the dude's name? Karasu, y'all know the dude who went up against Kurama in the tournament, and we get Kuwabara versus Elder Toguro. Elder Toguro looked horrifying. Once again, Netflix, good job on the graphics, on the CGI. Wow. So it was just all over the place, man, and that's one of the things. I feel like another reason why the One Piece show, and I'm finna end it here because it's really not too much I can talk about with this. I feel like one of the reasons why the One Piece show did such a great job is because people always talk about the pacing. I'm not denying it doesn't have any pacing issues, but because of how it's paced, it's easier to chop some stuff out. This show felt like a movie. It felt like just one movie. I'm watching the show and I'm not distinguishing between the intro and the outro. That's how much it was flowing together. So it just felt like they shot everything in the movie format and then broke it down in episodes. And they could really tell, because when you're doing a show, every episode has to have its own plot. This didn't have that. Every episode, besides episode 1 and episode 5. But that's it. The rest don't even have that. In which it makes sense, because in the beginning, you're introducing everybody, and the end is the end. So I just felt it needed more of a concise, more of a detailed plot. And it should have been this whole first season. If I were to do it, it probably should have stopped at the Tsurukune stuff and left it at that. You didn't need to include any of the other Toguro brothers. You didn't need to do that. You didn't need to, some of the stuff you didn't need to do. And I just feel like we missed out on a lot of stuff. We missed out on the Yusuke in the fight with the dude with the bottle, the drunk dude. That's a great fight I like from the Dark Tournament. Shoot, we missed out on one of the funniest tournaments ever, because y'all know the Dark Tournament is known for having the contestants kill the people who watching. And the people just be like, oh man, we're going to die. It's so hilarious. And we missed out on that. And partially it's because I feel like they did it because of budget cuts and things like that. If you're going to go cheap with the adaptation, just don't do it at all. Just like One Piece. I expect this next season of One Piece to be exceptional, because it was well received. But I'm not expecting anything. I'm not expecting a new season from this. Even though you're probably asking, well, where can they go from this? They'll probably have one more season, and they'll probably just quickly do the Sensui stuff, which also sucks, because Sensui is a more in-depth villain than Toguro, in my opinion. So that'll get rushed too. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all. I know this was probably a long video. I hope it wasn't. But if you love the video, like the video. If you don't love the video, so like the video. I'm on the road to 150 subscribers. I'm almost there, guys. We got like, what, 7 subscribers away. If you're new, subscribe. I make Marvel and anime content. But without further ado, I'm out. Peace.